1550 out of 1600 is a very good score, and that too in the very first attempt.
And I just could not fall asleep. And literally at 1 a.m., I decided to go on my computer and start practicing questions at 1 a.m. But another resource I really thought was very helpful, which I'm sad I didn't find this before in that sense. Like, I know one word that I think everyone should know is the word.
Hello everyone. Today's interaction is going to be important for those who are planning to write the SAT. With us, we have Tanish, who recently wrote SAT and got a score of 1550. So we're going to learn from his experiences. Hello and welcome to our channel, Tanish. How are you?
Hi, I'm great.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about your preparation journey. 1550 out of 1600 is a very good score, and that too in the very first attempt. So, can you first begin with your introduction? What do you do? What your aspirations are? And
Okay. Hi, my name is Tanish Peddi. I recently took the SAT and I live near Boston in Massachusetts, and I attend Westford Academy, which is a public school in Massachusetts. And currently I'm an 11th grader, and my aspirations for college, I would like to go on the pre-medical track, and ultimately go to med school and become a doctor.
that's pretty good. So, Tanish, you recently took the SAT. Tell us something about it, the score that you got in individual section, and when did you start preparing for it?
Yeah, so I took the August SAT, and regarding my score breakdown, I got a 790 on the math section and a 760 on the English, the reading and writing section. And personally, I think I started preparing for it early, maybe early July, but my main preparation started early August because I did go on vacation in July. So I mainly started preparing for it in August, and I took it on August 23rd, that same month.
All right, so it was probably less than 2 months you got a score of 1550 out of 1600, which is pretty phenomenal. So we're going to talk about different strategies that you took, the time management strategies, the resources that you underwent, and something that you'd like to tell to our students. So first begin with what all resources did you consider, or did you go through to prepare for your SAT attempt?
Yeah, so the main resources I personally used was firstly the College Board question bank. In my opinion, that's like the most useful resource because Board makes the question bank themselves. They compile previous questions, and what's so funny is that I even saw like a question very like they use the same exact like paragraph in my actual SAT than I've seen it in a College Board question before. So you may see that you may run on questions like that. My friends have That's happened to some of my friends as well. But another resource I really thought was very helpful, which I'm sad I didn't find this before, is called oneprep.xyz. And basically what they do is they take all of the College Board questions and compile it into an online format. So it's almost like you're answering each of those questions and that like how you'd answer the SAT questions through like an online format. And it tracks your progress and everything. And like it can filter the questions based off of difficulty. It ranks it from 1 to 7. And also it filters the questions based off when it was released by College Board. So I started practicing all the August released ones in that website, and it was very helpful. So those were the two main resources I used.
Okay, Tanish, a lot of people are stressed about the exam, especially the night before. So first of all, were you able to sleep one night before the exam? How was the exam experience like?
That was a very interesting time for me because I did end up sleeping at 2:30 in the morning. Because I was so stressed. I went to bed at like 9 o'clock because I was like, I need sleep for this. I need to do well. And I went to bed at 9 o'clock and I couldn't sleep at all. I was trying to close my eyes. I was trying to listen to music and go to sleep. I was literally trying to do anything possible to go to sleep, and I just could not fall asleep. And literally at 1 a.m., I decided to go on my computer and start practicing questions at 1 a.m. And I just like practiced questions until 2, and then like somehow I just got tired and went to sleep at 2:30 in the morning. And I realized I went to sleep at 2:30, and I woke up like because the exam is like pretty early, and my exam center was a good like 45 minutes away from me. So I woke up at like 6 in the morning. My parents woke me up, and I like started crying to them. I don't think I'm gonna do well. I did not sleep at all. And then what's so funny is I got to the exam center, and there were like thousands of people there. So they made me wait outside for 2 hours. I had to wait outside for 2 hours. Like I got there before they told me to get there, and I still had to wait outside for 2 hours. Because they just like were sending people in like in intervals, and also the Wi-Fi there was really bad, so I had to wait another hour to like for them to fix the Wi-Fi. So I think I started testing at like 11 o'clock, and I finished at like around 1:30, which is I'm supposed to be starting at 8 o'clock, and I ended up starting at 11 o'clock, which is like not that great. But I think it did help me because it woke me up because I did not get sleep the night before. So like standing outside in the sun definitely woke me up. So I'm kind of grateful for that, for the fact that they made me stand outside. But yeah, I think like regarding the actual testing experience when you're taking the test, what I tell myself is that I want to just get all of my stress and like all of that out during module 1 English, because module 2 English is like the one thing I really need to like focus on. I need to put all my brain power in. So I think that's what you need to tell yourself. Just like get everything out module 1 English. It's fine. Like you'll have time. And then just like lock in for module 2 English. And yeah. And for me personally, the math is an easy section. So like once I'm done with module 2 English, like I'm like, okay, like most of it's done. Module 1 math is like really easy. Module 2 math is like harder, but like I still am able to do well on it in my opinion. So yeah, that's regarding the actual testing experience. So word of advice, if you don't want to wait outside for 2 hours, then go to your testing center early. And I mean, obviously, it probably is not going to be a problem at many testing centers. This might have been specific to my testing center, but and get good sleep. That's another like thing that I personally did not get, but the fact that I had to wait outside for 2 hours like definitely woke me up a little bit more. So yeah, and also get all your stress out during module 1 English so you can lock in for module 2.
Perfect. That's a wonderful piece of advice, Tanish.
Yeah.
Very well. Okay, many students they say that time management is sort of an issue when you're dealing with SAT questions. In the SAT exam, did you face something similar, or during the beginning of your preparation journey, did you encounter time management problem, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so that's something I definitely encountered as well when I was taking practice tests. Like the first few practice tests, I was having like especially on English module 2, I was having a big time management issue. But I think with time management, the best thing to do obviously is practice, because like the more you practice, the more you'll be able to read faster and like still be able to comprehend what you're reading in like the amount of time you're given. Um, but I think regarding strategies, what I do is I know a lot of YouTube videos will say to like for the English section start at the last question, like do the grammar and the easier questions first and then go to the reading questions, but I didn't find that worked for me, because what I tended to do, I would spend too much time on those grammar questions and then I wouldn't give myself enough time for the reading questions. So I think the best thing to do is experiment with those strategies and everything, because it may work for some people. It just personally did not work for me. It may so just experiment with those strategies. For the math section for module 2, what helped me was that same strategy helped me for module 2. I started at the last question and then went to the first question, because usually the last questions for math module 2 tend to be harder. So I did that one first, and then like it's easier to have time pressure under the easier questions than the harder questions. So that helped me with that. Yeah, and also another thing a lot of people tend to do, I noticed a lot of my friends doing this as well, is that when they see a hard reading question, they try to understand it, even when they know that they're not going to end up understanding it. So what I would do is I would read it like 1 or 2 times. If nothing is clicking in your mind, read the answers a few times, maybe eliminate a few answers that you know definitely won't be right, and then just guess from there and bookmark it and then come back to it once everything is done. And even when everything is done and you still can't understand it, just go on to a different question that you think you might have got wrong or you want to check instead, because there's a very high chance that everyone else is going to get that wrong as well, so it's not going to be worth too much. So it's better to focus on other questions instead of just trying to get that one question right.
Very well. Okay, now a lot of students they ask about Desmos, you know. So
Yeah.
Desmos calculator, as you know, is integrated in the exam. Now, to what extent it was helpful to you, and you know, any tricks that you used that was very helpful in during the exam?
Yeah, Desmos was definitely very helpful for me in, like, especially a math module too, because you'll see that there's a bunch of questions where you just can't, like, it's just very hard to do them by like hand without a Desmos calculator. So the main strategy for Desmos I used was linear regression. That, like, I genuinely used half the problems for that. Like, well, I noticed that if you know how to use Desmos properly, you're not going to you're not even going to put much brain power into the math at all, which you shouldn't need to because we have Desmos at our hands. But also, but in order to use Desmos properly, first you need to learn how to use Desmos. So, like, learn how to do techniques like linear regression, and like just learn how to interpret graphs in general. I think the main strategy I tell to my friends is, if you see like a question with a bunch of like numbers and like variables and everything, what I do is that, like, if you don't understand what it's asking, or like not what it's asking, but you don't understand like how to solve it, the first step I would do is plug that entire equation Desmos, add some sliders, move some things around, and experiment with it. And then maybe at some point you'll get the answer. So yeah, but Desmos is definitely very useful. Like, the first thing you should do for studying for math is learn how to use Desmos, because I guarantee you can solve at least like a half to like three-fourths of the problems solely with Desmos.
Good, good, good. Now, verbal section is the reading and writing section is, you know, a bone of contention for many. So, which was the easiest question type? Which was the most difficult question type? And how did you prepare yourself for the reading and writing section?
Yeah, so regarding the easiest question type, that tended to be grammar for me, because like I'm very like a logical person. I'm a very objective person. There needs to be a rule and I need to follow it. Like, that's the type of person I am. So grammar is like that. Like, there's a few rules that you need to memorize and apply, and then you just apply those to the questions. So I think, like, my aim was to get 100 on grammar. Like, I just wanted full score on grammar, because then I could give myself some leeway for things like the reading and writing, which tended to be like harder for me. And for grammar, I would just memorize the rules that Hello Study Global gave me, and I would try to like apply them to questions and everything. And I would just like go through the College Board questions, and I would just keep just keep answering the questions using the rules that I memorized, and that just like ultimately what helped me get a. I'm pretty sure I did very well in the grammar section, even though they don't give the score like they do, but I got like full bars on everything, so I don't
Mhm.
know what I needed to work on. But I think I did very good on the grammar section. But also for the August SAT, I did notice that they started in one question, they started combining like certain questions, they would start combining topics into one question. Like, usually they would have like one topic per question, but what I noticed is that they started combining like form and sense and boundaries into one question, so you have to have knowledge in both in order to answer the question, basically, in order for the question to make sense. So definitely college board's new question release thing that they did, those definitely helped. Like the ones they released in August, because they were very much like my SAT, in my opinion. And regarding my weak point, that would definitely be reading for me. Because I see those long passages and I start panicking. I was like, oh, it's so hard to understand. I think the reading for me, definitely, like, the more I practiced, the more I got better at it. Um, and I think, like, what people have to understand is that the SAT reading is not like reading a book. You actually have to understand like every sentence that it's saying. Like, when we're reading books, we're just going to like skim over the text and like understand like like the main idea or like the overall idea of what like a text is talking about, but that's not how it is for SAT. You need to read a sentence and understand exactly what it's saying, whether it's relevant to the solution, whether it's relevant to like the question or not. Um, so yeah, and try not like I think people's goal should also not be like should also be to try not to have to read it multiple times. Try to focus on one time getting as much information as possible.
Good. So, very pertinent points that you've mentioned. During the course of preparation, there are always highs and lows. So, what were
Yeah.
your highs and lows? You wrote multiple mock tests. Some of them in the beginning, they were like, they, probably gravitated towards 1400 or close to 1300. How did you maintain your composure there? And how did you improve from one test to another? What was the strategy?
Yeah, so I think what I did was at first I took my first practice test and I just like looked at what were my weak points. So why I would analyze like why exactly did I get this question wrong? Was I stressed during this time? Was I under time pressure during this time? Did I not know this concept? And I would analyze that for every single question. Or like did I have to guess on this question? Things like that. Um, and then I would just go to the college board and filter it to, okay, let's practice command of evidence questions. Let's practice grammar questions, things like that. Um, and yeah, I think there were definitely some tests that were easier for me than others. But yeah, I think the best thing for like in terms of like practice is to analyze like the practice test can be very like indicative of where your gap points are because that's like if you do them properly, that's like how the actual test should be. Like that's the type of pressure you should be under the actual test. So it those ones definitely tend to be like a more indicative. I will say that I did feel like the math sections were easier on those practice tests than they were on the actual SAT. I definitely did. They were definitely easier than they were actual SAT. The English was definitely more like the practice test, maybe a little harder, but that could also be me under time pressure or like under like stress and everything because I'm taking the actual test. But yeah, I think the best thing to do in terms of practice test is once you finish practice test, analyze where your gap points are and just keep practicing those.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons, why you were able to score that high and in a very short span of time, in roughly 1 month of taking classes and writing the mocks, was that you very meticulously assessed your mistakes from one test to the other. So
Yeah,
I observed that you did the time analysis, which was there on Hello Study Global portal, to
yeah,
see where you were taking more time, even in those questions where you got the answers right. So very
yeah,
painstakingly addressing those issues, discussing. So I remember having those discussions where you gave your alternate points that, okay, maybe the question can be right because of this or that, and we had extensive discussions. So I saw that the developing the rationale for the correct answer and then practicing over and over again, that was something that helped you in scaling the score in very short span of time. So now some of those tests, and I totally agree with you. You mentioned that the maths questions, some of the maths questions in the exam, they seemed more difficult, and because of that, we have purposely included more challenging questions on the Hello Study Global test portal. So so the initial score was in the verbal, it was 660 out of 800, and
yeah,
1440 was the total score. And
yeah.
from there, you progressed very rapidly, working on the mistakes. So now, how did major part of test taking strategy is to keep yourself calm under stressful situation, right? And
Yeah.
especially not get demotivated when you get a low score in the exam, in the mock test. So how did you motivate yourself during this situation?
Um, I think I would just keep telling myself that I was doing well on. I think I would just keep telling myself that I was doing well, like when I was practicing. I would kind of just put those like bad scores out of my mind. I'm like, I'm just not gonna focus on this. Like, especially if you get like one good score, you're gonna be like, I like. like on one of my practice tests, I think I got like a 15 on two multiple of my practice tests. I did get 1550s. So I just kept telling myself, oh, I can definitely do this. And like I noticed that a lot of my practice tests were like the things I was getting wrong were silly mistakes. Like I know I definitely wouldn't have made this mistake if I was practicing without the test. So I was just like kept telling myself, oh, I'm gonna like not make these silly mistakes on my test and everything. And I ended up not make I don't obviously I don't know what I made mistakes on, but like that's what I kept telling myself. In terms of motivation, like it just like you just have to keep telling yourself that you're going to do well on the test. Like there's nothing really much you can do in order to motivate yourself, but like the best thing you can do to motivate yourself, in my opinion, is just practice and just keep telling yourself that you're going to do well. It's just about that positive mindset, in my opinion.
Absolutely right. It does matter a lot to keep
Yeah.
yourself motivated in this journey.
Yeah.
Wonderful, Tanish. So that was very insightful discussing the SAT strategies with you. Now, there's a question category called word in context where vocabulary words are tested. Now, in your exam, did you find too many of those words, and how did you tackle? Did you feel comfortable dealing with those words, those word in context questions?
Yeah, I personally knew all of the words I got because I've seen those words before. I was very lucky in that sense. Like I know one word that I think everyone should know is the word ubiquitous because I've genuinely seen that on like every single mock test. Like my it was on my actual test. It was on the September SAT apparently as well. So I think that's like one word that I would put my bets on that would show up on your SAT. Um, I mean, yeah, the word in context is definitely one that I struggled with a little bit as well because it was just like a hit or miss for me. I either knew the word or I didn't. Um, yeah, I think like module one for me tended to be like those tend to be easier words for me. Module two definitely got a little more difficult. Um, Yeah, I think for the word in context, like if you're really struggling with, I wouldn't like, I personally would not worry too much about it since it's only like a few words on your actual SAT. But if you really struggle with it, you think that's like your main weak point, then I would look at SparkNotes 1000 most common SAT words, and also Hello Study Global has a bunch of resources that really help with vocabulary as well. But yeah, like I think if you're only getting like one or two questions wrong on your practice test regarding word and context, then I wouldn't worry too much about it because it's just it takes too much time to study for the vocab if you're only studying for like one or two questions. Um, yeah, but definitely for the reading part of it, at least, one thing I always tell my friends to do is find what's wrong about the answer than what's right about the answer. Because what College Board does is that they try like it's genuinely like it's more about strategies here because what College Board tends to do is that they purposefully put like answers to trick you. That's what, so like if you try to find what's correct about the answer, you're gonna think those trick answers are correct because yeah. But if you find what's wrong about the answer, like for example, it's comparing the like two wrong things. Like if you're looking at like like command of evidence quantitative question and like it's asking you like the answer involves comparisons. If it's comparing the two wrong things or the data is wrong according to the graph, then you can automatically eliminate those answers. You know they won't be right. So yeah, and I would also look for like keywords in the answers. You should start looking for those keywords. Like if it's talking about one thing, you should be referring back to the text about that one thing that it's talking about and making sure that the information is right. It's not assuming anything. That's another thing a lot of people tend to do wrong. They tend to assume things when the question's not asking, or they tend to like even inference. Like when it's non-inference question, they're tending to infer things, which is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're only supposed to be taking details from the text. So yeah, that's my main thing for reading. And words in context is just like something you don't. I wouldn't worry too much about it if you're only getting one, two things wrong. But yeah,
Absolutely right. In those cases, also you could eliminate A lot of wrong answer choices. Out of four, in some cases, you could eliminate two to three answer choices
Yeah,
pretty easily.
exactly.
Wonderful. Great. So I am sure those who are watching this are going to greatly benefit from your experience of preparing for the exam, how to conduct yourself during the exam, how to manage stress, what all resources to study, how to strategize, how to handle the highs and lows of preparation. So this was very helpful. Thank you for joining in, Tanish.
Yeah, no problem.
For more such content, follow Hello Study Global.